On my previous TA video, I explained about this impulsive movement to the downside, and we had this bearish structure, this motive all the way down. I explained you guys we could even extend the wave 3 all the way here. We didn't, we held it, and then we went to the resistance area I was talking about, the dead cat bounce. If you haven't watched my TA video, guys, let me just show you 10 seconds of it. This previous TA video was uploaded July the 1st, but pay attention to what I say, guys. This is only based on probability. Once we define where wave 3 is, where the corrective wave 3 is, either at this fib level or this, we can now focus on wave 4, and this will be what we call dead cat bounce. All right, the fake rally which will come, which will take a lot of people off guard, a lot of people which is not in trading off guard too. Which means, remember guys, it's based on the weekly, which means that we will see some kind of waves, fake waves, all right here, and maybe even get rejected over here before we go down, because I'm not sure where the wave 4 will end. Or we can see it to the golden ratio area at 0.65 at price level at 29,000, close to 30,000, even 32,000 before we get rejected. Right over here at the golden fib ratio, they will take a lot of people off guard, and then we will continue to go down to back to the deep abyss. Welcome guys, welcome to daily crypto trading. Before we break down the long-term and short-term TA of Bitcoin, let's also look at the fundamentals. My long-time subscribers already know about this on-chain Analyse I made a week ago. Now, if you're not a long-time subscriber of mine and you are brand new, that is all right. Consider to hit the subscribe button. If not, just consider to give this video a like. This will help my channel to grow bigger and help other people freely. So what does this on-chain data actually show us? Well, it actually shows that we have too much leverage. When we have a high leverage risk, usually we see a severe price drop on the Bitcoin price. Remember, this is in the derivative market. And if you look at from April to May with the price drop, and from May again to all the way to June, you know, we see the leverage was going insane, right? Look at just the price consolidating, and look at the leverage going again up, and the price is consolidating. It's just insane. So this indicate a deleveraging event going on. If you look right there, we have high leverage risk and we have deleveraging event going on, price drop. High leverage risk, deleveraging event going on, price drop. High leverage risk, and we might see a deleveraging event going on, price drop. Let's stay at the derivative markets. At the moment, we can see there's a lot of open position. Now, this indicates there's a lot of liquidity going to the market, a lot of volatility in the market. It is getting a lot of attention. So derivative market get a lot of cash, all right? Now, this can also be dangerous because when we see a lot of volatility, usually market have no mercy and can take the liquidity off the market yet again. And we are in a bearish structure, guys. I will tell you about this on my TA later on the video. And since the open interest are increasing, let's also look at the funding rates. And if we look at the funding rates, we can see it's positive, meaning there are more longs than there are shorts. That is also why we are seeing this short squeeze going on. But the question is, how far can this last? Because in the derivative market, they have no mercy, all right? The market usually wins. So if the longs continue to dominate, usually there will be some kind of spike from the shorts, and there will be a long squeeze liquidating all the longs. And also, guys, remember the PCE is coming out tomorrow with the reports of the earnings report of Apple and Amazon and a lot of companies. All right, if the PCE inflation rate is low, that indicate the market can still rally. All right, the Fed love PCE rather than CPI, so the Fed use PCE report more than the CPI to measure the inflation. Right, PCE just remove the food and energy inflation out of the report. Let's also look at the miner net flow, guys. This is also important because miners have a lot of Bitcoin. What we are seeing is that reserve is actually decreasing, meaning that they are actually selling their Bitcoin to cover their expenses. All right. If we look at the outflow, we can see look at this huge price, huge Bitcoin outflow. They're sending a lot of Bitcoin, selling it either to OTC or in exchange to cover their expensive, and they are not profitable, so they are also capitulating, guys. This is again aligning with our TA. If you've been a long-time subscriber to my channel, you know we were expecting this recession and this high inflation. Top Federal Reserve officials say they misread inflation and now plan to correct the course. First, they say there was no inflation or high inflation. Then they said it was a transition inflation. And then they blame it on the millennials for buying houses and making debt. Guys, the only thing they are doing right now is downplaying inflation. And now they're saying they misread inflation. That is BS. These people are not stupid. They know what happened when they print trillions of dollars in a short period of time. A high inflation inflation come, there will be a supply shock, all right, decreasing the dollars. These people knew about this, so they created this problem. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen and I quote are saying a common definition of a recession is 2 negative quarters of GDP growth, and I agree with it because that is a definition, a recession. But suddenly she changed her tone.
5,000. This is not an economy that's in recession, but we're in a period of transition.
We are in a period of transition, and I quote from Janet Yellen, Treasury Secretary. They said the same thing about inflation. All right, they downplayed the inflation. First, they said there was no inflation, then there was no high inflation, then there was a transitory inflation. Transitory inflation just means is a short-term inflation, but however, when the inflation just kept increasing, they pretty much just retired that word and said, you know what, we're going to hike the rate. And later on, they blamed the millennials for borrowing money for buy houses and all this kind of nonsense. Even though every single person, tried to explain them, and these people are not stupid. They knew and they downplayed the inflation. When you print trillions of dollars and make a supply shock, of course, you will devalue your own currency and you will create some kind of inflation. This is how the government downplayed these recession and inflation, guys. They're telling you everybody is going to be okay. Don't panic. They're trying to, calm the storm. Like they don't want to have a mass panic because recession also means people lose business and job. And we're not there yet. So that is correct. But by definition, when we have 2 negative quarters of GDP growth, we are technically on a recession. And remember, this recession can last months or years. So be aware of that, guys. Do not let the government fool you and say that we are not in recession, because we are, per definition, in a recession, and this will affect you. However, this can also make an opportunity on the long term for risky asset. You simply can make this stuff up. The White House are trying to change the technical definition of a recession, and I bet you the government in 2023 will say, well, no one can predict this scenario, right? Or they will blame the millennials again. This is how they downplay the recession. 9 months ahead, it will be too late. Remember, do not be fooled by the government. I'm not saying the government is some evil person or something like that. They're just trying to downplay this recession. Now let's also dive into the TA of Bitcoin. I have not changed my stand. I still believe this is a high probability TA. So far is unfolding beautifully. We have this beautiful impulsive wave. We have wave 1, then a corrective wave 2, impulsive wave 3, and then a corrective wave 4. And I'm pretty sure you're thinking corrective wave, that's only when things are going down. Well, technically you're wrong, because when we have a long-term bearish structure, a corrective wave is actually when the price moves up, right? Remember that when we are in bearish structure, a long-term bearish structure, when things goes up, that's actually a corrective wave. So when things in a long term is going up and then, just going down, that is a corrective wave also. But the same apply when things are going down on the long term structure. And we haven't broken that long term structure. So right now we are moving from wave 3 to wave 4, and this was a corrective wave. I explained this perfectly on my last TA video, on my previous TA video. I told you guys clearly there will be FOMO kicking in. People will think they missed the bottom, the bulls will be back, and we will have this sentiment change. I also told you guys we need volume to kick in, and the volume did kick in. And look, I told you guys again, the RSI, we were oversold. We were oversold in RSI stock also, and the histogram was losing momentum, showing every indicator was showing that we had to have an upside. So the Fed rating was just a narrative, guys. This was already priced in. That is why we saw such a huge volume kick in. People are ready already, guys. Don't let the market fool you. I was explaining this scenario to the teeth, to the penny. All right, go watch my previous TA. I explain you guys this exact scenario, and I do get some DMs sometime. What now? Look, I'm not going to change my stand. I still believe my TA is unfolding beautifully. So we just need to see if it breaks this resistance at 24k. If it does that, we are going to 32 to 30k, maybe to 29k, and then we will get a rejection. We might even surpass it, surprise some people, and then we will go back down to the fib level 1618. I still believe this to around 30 to 40,000. That is my TA. So far it's holding. So far it believe we will go there. I will already buy personally when we are below 20k. Slowly I will just, DC my way down, because I don't care if I buy 19k, 18k, 13k or 10k. For me, this is a long-term holder position. But on a TA technical point of view, I still see we might go at wave 4 before we go down. Do not let the market fool you guys. Again, this was priced in. On a probability scale, what I believe is in this corrective wave, I do believe it will go above 24k, hit the 30k and get rejected. Also, if you look at the RSI, we'll most likely go around 50 at the 50 area, which is meaning we are in downtrend, hit that, get rejected, and again go all the way to the overbought area. So this overbought area and the golden pocket is actually aligning, guys. So everything is playing out as it should. But again, remember, this is a probability. We might get rejected 24k or 25 and then go just at wave 4. So the wave 4 can actually be here. This will be the lowest wave 4 I've seen, but this is a possibility. I do believe the probability is a lot higher for a wave 4 at the golden pocket area, especially with RSI below 50 getting rejected there, and of course overbought area once we reach these levels. But yet again, guys, remember, these are only probabilities, no guarantees, and this is on the weekly chart. So this takes weeks, months before it unfolds. Let's also look at the short term and let's look at the daily chart. I just want to say shout out to my community and my long-term subscribers. You guys have been here since last year. Some have been following me for 4 years. You guys know we call 20,000, all right? And just a screenshot, 11 months ago, I went to a TA or saw a guy, a very big influencer, talking about 500k, 300k, and I was like, this is way too bullish at the moment. I'm very bullish on the long term, but we need to go to 20,000. 11 months ago, guys. And there was a guy who wrote, are you okay? 20,000, are you crazy? Something like that. People insulted me. They were rude. They banned me. They hated my TA. They called my TA trash and all these kind of things. And I told this guy, specifically this guy, he didn't have to be rude. Well, I did what I did. And 11 months later, I told him, so you were saying, and then he said, you called it. I am definitely a buyer right now. And the same apply when people is overly bearish, guys. When things are overly bearish, we are in doomsday and all that, usually we see a reversal. The market show no mercy because there will be a lot of short position open. People will have a high level short position open without taking profit, and the market do not care. They will get wrecked. Short-term Bitcoin is actually looking very bearish. If you look at this fractal, right, this ascending channel, that was a bearish structure, we broke down. We had a smaller ascending channel, we broke down, and now we are forming a new ascending channel. So this is increasing the probability for a downtrend, of course. The way you measure the target is you take from the breaking point all the way to here. We call this a bear flag. And then you measure it by something like this, which is almost exactly where it hit, all right? So if we're going to measure the next drop, if there's a drop, we take from here, the breaking point, all the way to the bear flag right there. And then we, do something like this, all right? And this gives us a price target of 7,764 Bitcoin. Ouch. That is low. I don't think that will happen, but there's definitely a probability that we could reach this target. Now, of course, this is only probability, no guarantee. I personally think we will go around 30,000, 50,000, maybe even 12, and then we will have some kind of support. But if we have a huge drop down, I mean, this will pretty much deleverage the market. It will flush every player out, especially the weekends, and the long-term and short-term holders will panic and sell. Remember, if they bought in 2017, they are now on a huge loss, all right? So this will deleverage the market, like I said, capitulate short-term and long-term holders, and this will pretty much, make Bitcoin uninteresting again, and the trend will pretty much just go slow down. Again, making this a great buying opportunity, in my opinion, but this is, of course, worst case scenario, guys. We also have some bullish things, all right? So if we get more volume kicking in and if we break this trend line of 24k, we could see price surge up to 29k again, aligning with a long-term PA, and then we will go down, in my opinion. Just to look at the bullish side also, but we will need volume to kick in. This is still in a bearish structure in the short term as well, but this might take people, especially the bears, by surprise, right? Going above it, going to 29k, and then kicking down to 30k or 7k. Again, guys, be aware, these are only probabilities. There's no guarantee in trading on these kind of risky assets. We can see Bitcoin is trying to break this trend line, right? You'll see it hit the top and get rejected. This is a big supply zone, all right? Bitcoin have to crush over 24k for any bullish movement. If Bitcoin cannot go over this supply zone, we will go back down again, and most likely we're going to test these areas 21 to 22k, maybe even this line, all right? This is really important. We need volume, guys. Volume is number one. Without volume, there won't be any breaking point, right? So we need to break this pivot. We need to go above this breaking point and they'll go up, right? Then we might see 29k. But at the moment, the bearish structure is harder. There's higher probability for downside than upside. If you've been a long-time subscriber of mine, if you've been following my tweets, been on my Discord, I saw this tweet from July the 2nd, all right? Almost a month ago. You saw that I made a TA on the DXY, all right? The US dollar currency, because when the US dollar's currency is stronger than Bitcoin, Bitcoin see a price drop. I was very bullish on this. I saw a cup and handle. I showed this before this even happened. People didn't say anything. I showed you guys it, and lo and behold, look what happened. We broke out, and then I made a new tweet saying we're going down, and lo and behold, we went down. I'm still bullish on the DXY because I do believe we are right now in an uptrend. If we take a look at the RSI is showing us something interesting. We are getting support at the 50 area. If you've been a long-time subscriber, you know the 50 area is a support area, right? Which means we are still in an uptrend, and we are overbought at the RSI stock. All right, this is indicating we're going to have a movement to the upside. When we have a huge movement to the upside with the DXY, that usually means that DXY is outperforming Bitcoin and Bitcoin falls in price. All right, so every time DXY moves to the upside, Bitcoin moves to the downside. Be aware of that. My target for DXY is if we surpass 109, we most likely reach 112 and the fib level 16118 to 113. And as a last thing, guys, let's look at the sentiment. Every time the sentiment is bullish, we go down again, all right? That is where a lot of people are saying 500k Bitcoin and so on, or when things in a bearish structure and long-term is, is bearish structure, they will just downplay it and say, oh no, the bottom's in, we're only going up from here. If you look at the sentiment, however, about how fearful people are, every time extreme fear is going to fear and then natural and then greed, we usually after that chopped out and go down again. And I'm seeing the sentiment again changing, that the bulls again are back in. We are again going to have a big rally to the upside. Just look how we were just a few days ago. We were extreme fear. Now we are from extreme fear to fear, and then we move to neutral, most likely then greed, and then around 30k it will most likely be greed or extreme greed before again we go down. All right, the market will use you as exit liquidity. Don't be an exit liquidity, guys. Play this market great. Of course, no one can predict the top or the bottom, but remember to have risk management. Proper risk management will save you capital, guys. It's all about accumulating more money, accumulating more Bitcoin, whatever, to build wealth. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this TA, on the left corner, there'll be a recommended video for you guys to watch. Otherwise, join our free Discord server. You guys are welcome to join. We talk crypto 24/7, guys. Anyway, guys, see you in the Discord server.